Good morning, everyone. Welcome along to our coverage today of day 2 of the IP20 festival here at the Mardag. Glorious Mardag today once again. Beautiful conditions for cricket, and we're all set for a fantastic day here in Cork with our first game. You'll see on your screen there, it's the Warriors in green against the Lightning blue. Leinster Lightning have won the toss and they've decided to bowl first. So as you see out in the middle, Balbirnie and topping for the Warriors. We're all set for day 2. Once again, I'm delighted to have on my right Isabel Joyce. Morning, Izzy.
Morning, Ali. Another glorious day, as you said, and a new look. Well, new look since yesterday. Leinster Lightning team, 6 changes, all the internationals coming back in. Just the one change for Northwest Warriors. Graham Hume coming in, Barry McCarthy with the new ball. Lorcan Tucker, the captain, won the toss, elected to bowl first. And bowling to an informed Sam Topping. He made 67 from just 39 deliveries yesterday. His partner Andy Balbirnie down the other end, 26 from 15 for him. So it was a really good opening partnership from them. 61 they put on. They'll definitely be keen to repeat that feat.
Well, I actually spoke to the skipper just before the game today, and that was the one he pointed out, the fact that they put on 350 partnerships at the top. Contrary to what they've done in the last couple of years, that was really important to set a platform. So they'll be looking for something similar today.
Nice start from Barry McCarthy. It's almost like he's just continuing on from his very long warm-up. He really does make you feel tired just watching his warm-up, doesn't he?
He likes a warm-up, does Barry, and he gives it his all, as he does on the field. It's not just a two-stepper and I'll just get my arm over here. He's running in off his full mark in the warm-ups, and as you said, it just seems that he's just gone in and put his blue kit on and come back out and just continued on. But a good start from him, just pushing it across, topping as a slip in. Again.
Lovely lift on that from Barry McCarthy. He's found a nice length, and Topping just not really committing to the back foot. There's a slip in place. George Dockerell's ready, and Reuben Wilson's in short third. You feel like he's in the game with the catch there, actually, don't you? Deep point on the boundary, a deep backward square as well.
It's like a fly sort of slip, but really close for a fly slip even. He is on the circle.
Fly third slip.
Yeah. Finally makes contact with one outside the off stump and gets off the mark with a single. Brings Balbirnie down to face a guy he'll be well used to.
God, I wonder, is he used to him? Because how much bowling do the bowlers actually do at the batsman in Irish training? It's a funny one, isn't it? Like, some batters prefer to have a sidearm. They might like to have throwdowns rather than facing bowlers a lot of the time, so they can work on specific things.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's come into the game, is the dog stick or the sidearm, whatever you want to call it. It's definitely more prevalent now. Struck on the pads. More of an appeal from behind the wicket, which tells you everything, because I think Barry's a serial appealer, and if he thought that was any way close, he'd have been straight up. Have a look here.
Yeah,
just angling.
Definitely going down. I think sometimes as a bowler, you don't think it's out, and you don't appeal, and then you go, oh, you know, what if I'm wrong? I don't have the best angle. Better check. It's Johnny Kennedy down there. I was talking to him after the game yesterday. He was talking me through the time he got hit, what was going through his mind. Didn't have much time to think, because it didn't get out of the way.
And that could have been, as we talked about, those two in action, but Saw that quite a lot yesterday. The shots going over the head of the batter, either properly ramped or edges. And that one was a little bit betwixt and between of a ramp and an edge, really. It goes for 4.
He's really good at this type of shot for a sweep. But he gets inside the line for a spinner and kind of shovels it around the corner. So it's almost like he's reinvented the sweep shot into his ramp shot. It hit his glove, I think, and Barry McCarthy stood there for an absolute age. I don't know, I obviously couldn't hear anything, but I'm sure there were a few words being exchanged. Reuben Wilson will take the second over. Didn't have a great day yesterday, Reuben Wilson. 0 for 25 from 2, and just didn't seem happy with, I don't know whether it was the plan or what he was executing, but he was definitely taken down by the Northern Knights.
Yep, so he's going to pull from this Sunday's well end to Sam Topping. And there'll be a man out there. That's the stationed man on the leg side. Gavin Hoey out there, good arm.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing Gavin Hoey on this pitch. I haven't seen too much leg spin. So Robbie Miller, who did well yesterday, 2 for 15 from him, so he retains his spot in the team. But by and large, there was a lot of left arm spin, a couple of off spinners. So Gareth Delaney injured, of course, and Ben White not in action yesterday as he was coming back from international duty. Look out in the tent. Good thing we've got the coverage.
Yeah, it almost took our cameraman out there to the right there. That was straight at him, so hopefully he's got a good shot of that. That's a beautiful shot from Balbirnie. Doesn't overhit it there. Gets the momentum, as we talked about yesterday, coming down the crease and just hands through the ball. And there you go. Just misses a Gleb there on the camera.
Yeah, he's in the firing line there, isn't he, Gleb?
Definitely.
Balbirnie on the charge.
Goes leg side this time. He's got enough on that to take it down to the pavilion area. 4 more.
It's like he's writing a script, Andy Balbirnie. He knows exactly what Wilson's going to bowl. Came down the pitch, put him back over his head. He knows the next one's going to be short. And Wilson would have done a lot better to try and bowl the Yorker. So Balbirnie stood still on this occasion. He knew there was a lot of space over mid-wicket. So 6 followed by a 4. And already Wilson on the back foot. Good comeback.
Yeah, but you're talking about the in those 2 shots. Obviously, he'd read what was coming, and that time looked like he didn't, because he'd sort of changed his mind halfway through there and just sort of hung the bat out at that one.
Yeah, that was a hard length. So I think you're better off at looking to bowl the length where Balbirnie has to come down at you to attack you. Don't allow him to stand back and pull you. The field's not set for that. Did not get up, but Mark Hawthorne not interested at all.
Yeah, the pitch played pretty well yesterday. I spoke to a few players and pretty complimentary about the surface. Obviously, runs scored particularly by the Warriors and the Knights, the 2 winning teams. Clearly they'll be happy, obviously, because they've won the games, but generally I think players thought that the pitch played quite well. We're two to the right, I think, today from where we're looking.
Yeah, they were working on that yesterday in between the games, the pitch that we're on now. But I think by the end of the day, 1 or 2 players said a slightly too pace, but by and large, very good pitch. Topping looks to use the ramp shot. And as a bowler, sometimes when you're releasing it and you see them get in that position, you're just hoping that they don't make contact. So pretty good finish from Reuben Wilson. After 2, they're 17 without loss.
Team dugouts there. As you can see, bathed in sunshine. Jumpers on today for sure. T-shirt and shorts all around for everybody. Beautiful conditions to play cricket, really. Still.
So Barry McCarthy really unhappy in the final delivery of the last over that Andy Balbirnie lifted him over the keeper's head. Well, he's lifted back over his own head this time. Great feet, lovely technique, and lifts it over Barry McCarthy's head for another 6.
That's gone a long way. We said yesterday that the kids were often sent out to collect the ball. Well, it's an Irish international sent this time. Harry Tector's been summoned to go from sort of mid-off out to the front end onto the road. I think that's gone. I think Harry should probably come back because the third umpire's out already with a new ball. That was a beautiful shot from Balbirnie. Really held his shape. The straight boundaries are quite short here. That's carried a long way though. And Harry's done the job. Back in through the gate, and there's the ball. It's your first piece of fielding today, Harry. Not quite as orthodox as normal.
No, good point. You don't want to be fielding it from outside the boundary rope.
Your umpire's on the screen there. Johnny Kennedy just coming back in the screen at square leg. Then we've got Mark Hawthorne. Fairly experienced panel down here at the T20 Festival. Rory Black's on third.
Yeah, he did both games yesterday, Rolly Black, so he gets to sit out the first game. It's a long tournament for the umpires, isn't it?
Yeah. 2 games a day, got to concentrate.
Yeah, 4 games for each of them.
4 games for each, yeah. As you sort of indicated yesterday and talked about yesterday, they've got to sort of detach themselves from the game itself and just concentrate on ball by ball. A little bit like the players, you know, concentrate on each ball in turn.
Change in field here. They're going to take slip out and bring point up. All the fielders on the offside on the single. Fine goes back as well as square. So Barry McCarthy's going to have to hold tight in at leg stump here. Balbirnie's so strong through the offside.
Would you believe it? Well, you would believe it, of course you would. Straight through slip area. Runs away for 4. Dockrell moved out. It's not going to make McCarthy's mood any better.
Well, you earned the right to do this by the way you play. He forced the slip out and shuffles a little bit leg side, a little edge, and it needed to be fine to beat the field because there's almost 2/3 there. It's just so short straight to this end. The Sunday's well end. Very difficult to defend. Good keeping from Tucker, just slightly too far down the leg side from McCarthy.
Yep, that's the conundrum you're talking about. 2 fielders back on the leg side, so that's your defence. So you want to be tight to the batter, but very easy just to let it drift down leg, as in that delivery. Tucker does well to prevent the extras.
Well, the good thing is that he knows the plan, so he's aware that it might just slide down the leg side, ready for that. Lorcan Tucker. Beautifully played. There's a big gap at extra cover there. Harry Tector just takes a little tumble and will allow them to come back for the second. And once again, the running good between these two. We've talked about the understanding that they have.
Yeah, we also talked yesterday about the outfield when we watched the Reds in the morning. We thought our ground fielding was a little bit off. I have walked across the ground a good bit this morning. It does undulate a little bit. Lots of little ups and downs and hollows.
It's Decent bouncer, but, well, in fact, it's not a decent one because I think Mark Hawthorne is signalling. Was he? I thought he signalled a wide to Johnny Kennedy. Johnny Kennedy missed the signal, unless they have a different type of communication between them.
Well, possibly the angle we're looking at, Mark, here. It did look as if he'd signalled wide, but possibly he was just tapping the shoulder. I don't know. It looked like a wide to me. That was exactly the first thing I did was look to the left.
He might have been saying it was low enough. Maybe that was the signal he was
We definitely
using.
need to work that out between us. We need to know that as well. What's your signal, Mark? Anyway, it does turn out to be a good ball. It's in the gap. 2 men in that area, but it's in the gap. Hit through there for 4 on the offside. Balbirnie, he's got off to an absolute flyer here. 30 from just 12. And after 3 overs, the Warriors ticking along again in the power play. 34 without loss.
Yeah, 17 coming from that over, so they've doubled their score in Barry McCarthy's second. Shuffle down the pitch, get the hands through. Barry McCarthy didn't look happy with the fielders, but I reckon that went straight between them. Not much you can do about it. The outfield lightning quick here at the Mardyke.
Yep, I think Barry was a little bit harsh on the fielders there. I don't think there was any opportunity at all to even put a dive in there to try and stop that one. And as you say, once it beat that infield, there was no stopping it down there. So 17 coming from it. And the Warriors off to that good start. It is only halfway through the power play, but 34 without loss. Matt Hollard's going to replace Ruben Wilson. And a pretty impressive debut yesterday. The figures maybe not reflective as such, but he bowled with a lot of energy and good bit of pace. Matt Hollard.
Yeah, 2 for 29 from 3. They did bowl with good pace. They put down a few chances yesterday, Leinster Lightning. I don't think we'll see that today with the 6 internationals coming back in. That one's flayed away. Makes full use of the pace. Sam Topping makes sure it gets over the fielder in point, and they continue their merry way. Northwest Warriors enjoying their time down in Cork.
The 2 openers again. Just getting off to a really good start here. This one's with the width and, as you say, the pace. He's given himself a little bit extra, but it was wide. And again, no thought about playing that along the carpet. Looking to go over point. Again, this time on the ground, but beats the man at point again. That'll go in exactly the same area. And 4 more to Topping.
Well, I just wonder, is the square leg necessary? Third is out. They're going to bring third in and drop point, but why have the square leg? He's got to bowl straighter. When you talk to coaches, they talk about defending half the pitch. So with square leg out and point out, I suppose you're defending the back half. But could they drop third and then one on the offside and just bowl on the channel outside off stump?
Well, we've now got that strange one. I'm not overly keen to have both my fielders on the boundary square. So now you're basically saying that he's got a bit of pace. We've just talked about that, and ball could well go square, but just even the look of it, and immediately Topping goes, but that's going to be out. Tries to play the ramp, so perhaps they knew exactly what they were doing, and they'd read that Sam Topping was then going to try and ramp one. He hasn't got it over the top of the keeper, and Lorcan Tucker makes a simple catch to get rid of Sam Topping. He goes for 10. The first wicket falls at 42.
Well, he brought the third up, that delivery, and they do know that Sam Topping, he goes for 10 from 9. They do know he likes to play the ramp shot, so a well-executed Yorker from Hollard saying, if you get this wrong, I'm going to get you out. And good technique from Lorcan Tucker. We might have to talk to him about how he goes about catching those. Didn't get the hands overly high, but it wasn't a steepling catch for him. Won't get many easier than that.
An important breakthrough for the Lightning. Balbirnie going well at the other end, topping with those 2 fours off the first couple of deliveries in the over. Just important to stem that flow. Jake Egan on screen there. He's come out to the middle. Played well yesterday also. The top 3, all top 3 in the Warriors.
Just 3 short of his half century yesterday. Slip goes back in. 2 right-handers at the crease now. Slides down leg side, never what you want. I don't want to give the new batter a ball to just see it.
Yep, just exactly what I was thinking. That's a nice sider for, especially with Hollard. A wee bit of a reputation for a bit of pace. You know, Egan obviously will know who he's facing here. You come out there and think, well, I've got to be behind this first ball. He's got a free look there. That one slides down the leg for a wide.
Chases on for Hoey in the deep. He is an excellent fielder, but well placed from Egan, and continues where he left off yesterday, where the beginning, first 3/4 of his innings really was all about the running between the wickets. Then he looked for the boundaries later on.
Yep, that's a pretty standard Jake Egan innings, I have to say. I've watched him quite a bit. Does like to get going early with 1s and 2s. He might get more than that's going to run away. Tim Tector's got work to do here. And yeah, probably the wise decision there not to do the aquaplane dive there for Tim Tector. The pavilion is quite close to that boundary. So he takes the safe option and lets it go.
Yeah, just a little bit of extra pace you can see from the way he's played that. A little bit late, but manages to muscle it past Tector, and just doesn't seem to slow down, does it?
Yeah, real teaser. Another boundary. And defended by Egan. That does take us through to the end of the 4th over. As per in T20, it's been all action here. 4 overs gone. Really, the Warriors 49 for 1. There's your coaching staff getting together for the Knights and the Reds. Simon Johnson on the left there. I was going to say Simon Johnson with the glasses, but they've all got glasses on there. Simon Johnson on the left, Jeremy Bray on the right, Chris Brown, Ian Butler. Down nice and early today. That game not until 3:45 today, but time to take a look not just at the opposition, but obviously conditions here today.
I think it's just irresistible to come down and watch, isn't it? Because it's just so beautiful here. It's warm, but it hasn't really heated up yet because it's still early enough. I reckon the afternoon game might be a bit stickier.
Yep. Again, Balbirnie just throws the hands at that, and again the edge will carry a long way. That's the area we've talked about constantly yesterday. A little cut off area down at 3rd man at this end. That carries a long way, but no defence down there, unfortunately, for the Lightning. 6 more.
Yeah, really good follow there from our cameraman. Great work. It's gone into the netting quite high, because for a minute there we can't really see the angle, can we? So for a minute there I thought maybe 3rd was in with a shout. Sometimes in grounds like this where there's a little bit of a foible, it's about who manages it the best.
This could be out, and is this time. It goes straight to the fielder this time, and that area has actually proved to be the downfall for Balbirnie. And Matt Hollard takes the catch there at short 3rd man. Last ball rather carries all the way for 6, but this time straight to the fielder at short 3rd man. Matt Hollard takes the catch. Wilson gets a breakthrough. 55 for 2. Balbirnie goes for 36.
Yeah, similar area, just doesn't get the elevation we saw on the previous ball. Thick edge. It's almost if they were trying to invite him to try and do it again. Didn't manage it, but bright and breezy, 36 from 14. And Northwest Warriors, they've lost both their openers now, but a healthy score on the board, 55 for 2.
Scott McBeth comes in now to join Egan. These two were one of those 50 partnerships, but I'd probably say that Scott McBeth got 34, but it wasn't his most fluent 34s. A few swings and misses early on. So plenty of time for him today, still pretty much 15 and 4 balls to come, so lots of time here.
Yeah, slip goes back in, George Dockrell straight in. They've recognised that it's a wicket-taking option. Lots of edges so far today, and none have gone to slip while George Dockrell's been there.
Yeah, it is a strange field though. They've got wide third man, and that man Hollard is still at short third man as well. So they've got 4 fielders in a ring here, including Point. That goes down to one of them. That's the orthodox third man. I think there's Seamus Lynch.
I think that as a groundsman, probably looking at this field, you'd be very proud. It shows there's a good bit of pace in the pitch. You're pretty much defending backward of Point.
Yep, 4 of the 9 fielders in that area. It's quite strange.
It's been a good comeback from Ruben Wilson. He's gone for quite a lot of runs in the last 2 games, but that wicket will make him feel a whole lot better. I think having a captain like Lorcan Tucker, who just seems unperturbed by any 6s or 4s hit.
It's in the air, but it's going to be safe. Barry McCarthy chasing it's off to that bigger area. And I think going to get back for 3. Yep. Get over the top of the ball. Egan was on him a little bit sharper maybe than he thought. First ball he faced from Wilson. And you can see him on screen there. Doing a little mime for extra bounce. So he didn't get up on him.
Yeah, it's a pretty free shot. There is a man in the deep at backward of square, but there's a whole heap of space in mid wicket. Just the mid on in position, quite wide there. Barry McCarthy. Macbeth dancing down, but a slower delivery, not going according to plan there from Wilson.
Yeah, well, we've just talked about the cover on that behind the wicket on the offside. If you've got 4 men down there, you can't have as many as you want, so the leg side will be quite sparsely occupied by fielders. Just that mid on and then deep square leg. So big open spaces on the leg side.
It just doesn't sound right, does it, that bat? But it's done well enough to send it between those fielders and send it for 4.
How do you thread that? We just talked about the 4 men out there and threaded that through them all. Yeah, it doesn't sound as clean as some of the striking we've seen over the past few days, but Scott McBeth will take that and runs away for a boundary. 64 for 2 now.
Yeah, just playing with the angles there. Lorcan Tucker, he's brought Tim Tector in a little bit tighter at point. Krista Freitas moves around to his right, or his left. So there's a huge gap between cover and mid-off.
Take the one into that leg side, as you see. That's Barry McCarthy coming in from mid-on, all the way into mid-wicket to field. Comfortable single. 5 overs gone. Very healthy run rate for the Northwest Warriors. 65 for 2. But the Lightning will have been led just to pick up those 2 wickets. Decent start for the Warriors.
Yeah, I just wonder, did they talk, the Warriors, about this batting lineup? That Leinster only had 2 players that batted yesterday still in the team today. So there's 6 batters that are going to come in to that top 8. They've opted to just stick with seamers so far. It's going to be Hollard to bowl the final over of the power play. But have the Northwest Warriors said, right, 191 we got yesterday, that's not going to be enough against Leinster. Edged, gone. Nicely angled in. No real intent there from Scott Macbeth. The extra bit of pace did for him. Easy catch for Lorcan Tucker. That's 2 for him so far. And 3rd wicket inside the power play. Macbeth never got going. 6 from 4 for him. Northwest Warriors 65 for 3.
Yep, nicely bowled on Hollard. Lang just shipping away a little bit. Again, a little bit of a half shot there from Macbeth. And that orthodox inside edge through to Tucker. Very comfortable. You can see just going leg side a little bit and just hung the bat at it. Gets a little nick. The 3rd wicket falls. We said that just in the last end of that last over, that the Lightning will be delighted they've picked up 2 wickets, despite the fact that they're going at 13 and over. Yeah, no surprise for me that the Warriors have decided to, well, probably the skipper himself has decided, I'm going to go in here. We've got a good run rate. Just need to maybe settle a little to allow us to maybe go again later on. We can't lose too many wickets, so it might be a little bit of a settling period here for the Warriors. So McBride has come out. Left hand, right hand, of course. They'll face Hollard. Short ball. Surprised him a little bit. Could have gone anywhere.
Yeah, what did this hit? Good pace. Just tucked up McBride. And it could have gone anywhere off. What did it hit? Did it hit his bat? His glove?
It sounded like it hit the bat, but it
could have easily gone onto the stumps afterwards.
The look of it didn't look as if it hit the bat, because it just kind of dropped, so possibly just into the body. I'm not 100% sure, but he's got away with it.
Leinster still hunting for wickets. George Dockrell in slip for the new man. There's a rare sight. A forward defence.
It has been. So yeah, just those 3 wickets. Really important. Continually talk about wickets in the power play. And I'll still always discuss that. And you just mentioned they're keeping a slip in there. They are hunting for wickets, and if you can pick up another 2 before the 10th over, then that's exactly the way they're looking here. Try and restrict the run rate with wickets.
That's a good ploy, definitely. If you can take wickets rather than look to contain in the power play. Yes, Northwest Warriors are scoring runs, but they've lost 3 wickets already. They can't afford another one. They're going to take on the fielder, Harry Tector. I reckon he was safe.
Yeah, I think it was a decent run. You always have a little bit of the heart in the mouth. Maybe ask Jay Hope. If you remember back to that first one-day international, he hit the ball straight to Harry Tector and was run out without probably being in the frame. And you kind of think, well, you know your fielder there, because in Ireland you certainly wouldn't be taking on Harry.
No, but in T20s it's different, isn't it? You
Yeah,
tend to hug the ring.
Yeah.
Especially when there's a short boundary straight. You're thinking about taking the catch. There's a catch possibly on. No, that's going to sail all the way. Top edge makes full use of the pace, and Egan gets his first maximum of the match.
Hits the scoreboard. You know, the Mordike. The old style scoreboard just beside the pavilion. It's flush in the middle here. Just catch it. There you go. I see the word target just above it. Bang on target there from Jake Egan.
And another good single, just drops it into the offside. Follows the 6 with 1, 8 from that over, and the wicket as well. Power play done and dusted, 73 for 3, the Northwest Warriors.
That's almost has become the norm here. As soon as the power play is done, you can see the wicketkeeper shouting to the third for the helmet. That indicates a little bit of spin for the first time today. You can see Lorcan Tucker putting on the helmet. Gonna be Gavin Hoy. As you mentioned, it'll be really interesting to see Hoy bowling on here. He's had a good couple of years in interprovincial cricket. That's obviously how he then has stepped up into international, but he's been really effective in interprovincial cricket recently. And see too much leg spin yesterday, as you mentioned Robbie Miller a little bit, but he bowled quite well. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes here, and indeed how the Warriors try to combat him.
Just a little punch down the pitch from Egan to start. Always good for a leg spinner if you see them land it first up. It's an interesting one, isn't it? Just having a think while you were talking there about why it is that we don't have leg spinners outside of the ones involved in the international setup. It must be because it's the most difficult dart in the game. And if you're good enough to be in the Interpros, you're kind of in the frame for the Irish team.
Yeah, I do think there is a wee bit of that you know, when you're in club cricket and you try to bowl leg spin, it can go wrong. And you know, we always talk about getting a little bit extra leeway because it is a difficult thing. So in club cricket, maybe you disappear a bit and don't land it right, pack that in and do something different. So yeah, it is something difficult, but I think we should always try and encourage it, because constantly we talk at international level about having something different. Can you bowl with, we obviously look towards the left arm spin or a leg spinner, or, you know, we can pick up somebody that can bowl both, spin it both ways, then that would be golden for any team.
Yeah, challenging both edges. Does have a good googly. Gavin Hoey. That's always useful when you're bowling to left-right hand combinations. 2 right-handers out there now, so I think we'll see more of the actual regular leg spinners. Reverse sweep, there's third in place. This is going to be tight. Oh, Andy McBride, just we do not need any more injuries.
We've had a few injuries today. I spoke to the physio, as I said to you earlier. And the first thing I said to him on a busy day yesterday, and his reply actually was, it could be a busy day today as well. Maybe he knows something that we don't, but yeah. Yeah, we don't need that bat getting stuck in the turf as you run through. Looks to be okay.
Dances down. This is a chance and taken. No.
Oh, it
on
is.
The second chance.
Wow, ooh. Ruben Wilson's heart would have been lean in his mouth there after yesterday. But he's taken it. And we thought that McBride would come in and try and sort of work it around for a while. That's not the way T20 cricket these days. He tried to take Hoy downtown, but picks out the man at mid-off, and in the second attempt, Ruben Wilson takes the catch.
Yeah, just a good pace here from Gavin Hoey, I think. It means that McBride couldn't get underneath it, couldn't get the elevation. Here's the first attempt into the body, and then had the wherewithal.
He's done really well, actually.
Yeah, well, yesterday, with the Northwest Warriors, we talked about the fact that they batted well, but I'm looking down my list of missed chances from the Munster Reds against them yesterday morning, and the difference has been Leinster Lightning have taken their chances today. Alberni was dropped on 21, Topping on 48, Macbeth missed stumping on 3. So they made Munster Reds pay for missed chances yesterday. Lovely start to the new man.
Again, speaking with Andy McBride, he made that point that they were better with the Reds in the field. He was really impressed with the Warriors in the field. Their catching was excellent yesterday. Quite a few really low to the ground. That one probably shouldn't have been low to the ground, but ended up just being picked off the turf by Wilson. But look, he caught it, and that's all that mattered in the end. His namesake Wilson out there, Jared Wilson, for the Warriors. He would have preferred probably his modus is usually coming in with about 4 or 5 overs to go, but he's got 13 to go here. A lot of onus on Jake Egan now.
Yeah, it's maybe stop thinking so much about the boundary and start thinking about working the ball around, get your 1s and 2s. 3 Wilsons in the game today, I think. It's quite a lot of Wilsons. 1 on the Leinster Lightning team, 2 for the Northwest Warriors. None related.
And the coach. The Warriors is a Wilson as well. Gary Wilson in with the Northwest Warriors for this T20 Festival campaign.
Yeah, great to see all the support staff for the national team in with the interprovincial teams.
Deverais has come on here. That's short. It's got a chance. It's going to be another wicket. It's gone. Warriors are just kind of going on a terrific run rate, but they're losing wickets constantly now. Tim Sector with the catch there on the boundary. It is a short boundary, but Egan has perished. Another maximum. Caught by Tim Sector. Pulled Deverais for 18.
Yeah, not what the doctor ordered at all. Jake Egan, usually, as you say, good at working the ball around, playing the situation, short delivery. I think it was just leaving him. That's why he didn't quite get the contact he would have wanted. Tim Sector in the deep takes a pretty regulation catch. But half their wickets down now, Northwest Warriors, and in a perilous position.
Yeah, I just understand. Like I understand T20 mentality these days. It's just everything's got to go and it's got to be a constant. But just maybe in those little 3 or 4 overs here, up to 10, 11, halfway, just maybe consolidate a little bit. Get yourself up to 100 after maybe 12 overs, but 5 down now. Clearly that memo hasn't reached Cameron Melly, because first ball, he's going straight after it again.
Yeah, I reckon today's pitch has a little bit more bounce than yesterday's. So each batter coming out hasn't quite got the measure of it from the first delivery. So it might be worth just taking 1 or 2 balls to push it around for a single before you start chasing.
Definitely have to chase that one. That was well wide. Deverais.
Just a little chat between the 2 batters here. Maybe Jared Wilson saying, come on, me and you, we've got to bat for a few overs here. That's well bowled. A little bit quicker, I reckon.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of nip about him here.
Just looking down the bowling figures here, the seamers have been expensive, but the key has been they've taken wickets. So Lorcan Tucker has thought, look, I don't mind if we go for a few, but we're going to chase the wickets. He enjoyed that one. Deverais, I had a little chat with him before the game. I said, hard luck yesterday. And he said, I really didn't bowl well. So I think he'll be happy he managed to retain his spot in the team. 0 for 36 from 2.4. Now there were missed chances in there, weren't there? There was a pretty regulation caught behind. There was a catch over mid-off where certainly I felt that De Freitas was probably a little bit tight. I reckon Cameron Melly his eyes were on the spot. He meant to deposit that ball.
Yep. Up behind us here, over the tennis courts. I think he was trying to hit that one. Again, no thought at all about just working around here. It is really just a contrast here in terms of, yeah, they're really looking for wickets. The Lightning, that's their key here. Not trying to restrict runs at all, it's wickets. He finally gets one away. Freitas with a lot of work to do out there. Teases him there into the nets. That'll go for 4. So Melly finally gets one off the middle. His 4th ball catches up with his strike rate, 4 off 4.
Well, we've had another 5 ball over. There was a wide in there, but they're going to call that the final delivery. Slower ball, but too wide for Melvin Deverage. So a good over, just closed out with a boundary. A good one though, he got the wicket first ball. And Jake Egan, you feel like he's the kind of man you can build an innings around if he'd managed to stay out there, but he didn't manage it. 81 for 5 after 8.
Short from Hoy. Wilson's got onto it, and it's gone almost to exactly the same spot as the last ball from different ends. Krista Freitas is going to retrieve that one from the portable nets again. Back-to-back boundaries for the Warriors. Yeah, a bit of a drag down there from Gavin Hoy.
Yeah, it's a good shot though from Wilson. Didn't worry about his back foot, cleared the front foot, trusted to his hands. There's a lot of space out there. Does the same this time, hits to the offside. It's a man in the deep there. Seamus Lynch doesn't have the gloves today. Lorcan took her back in to the team, and the captain gets the wicket-keeping position. George Dockrell's having a great time there, isn't he? He's just hanging out in slip most of the day.
Yep.
Saving his energy for his batting later.
Floated up by Hoy. Punched down the ground. Short wicket. Detector thought he was in business there, but he's wide to his left and runs down to Wilson at long on for an easily run through single. Jared Wilson giving himself a lot of room there.
Well, he hit that quite poorly, and that's actually probably saved him because he didn't get the elevation. Wilson. Almost another catch for his namesake. The other Wilson, the Wilson on the Leinster Lightning side, Ruben.
It's the over. 9 gone. 88 for 5 now, the Warriors. You can see the wickets have done the job for Lorcan Tucker. It's not the fielding sort of positioning that has restricted the run rate or the good bowling in terms of tight lines. It's the wickets that have done that naturally. Brought that run rate down from 13 at one stage down to under 10 now. Still healthy though for the Warriors, but it's those 5 wickets that are going to be concerning for Boyd Rankin, the head coach.
Good hard length from Deverage. It's a great name, isn't it? Melvin Deverage.
It just runs off the tongue. Deverage.
You just do not forget that name. He's got lots of protection now. Square, mid wicket, long on, long off, and deep point.
Yep, they keep coming. The Warriors here. No. Doesn't look to be any thought of. And again, flashing blade from Melly. There's two men in that area again. Different end, but still two at that point area. Backward. Threads it through. Runs away for 4 more.
Yeah, frustrating this because it could have gone anywhere. There was no real control. Gavin Hoey thought he was in with a chance there. Ruben Wilson was pretty sure he wasn't. They're going to change the field. Harry Tactor up in the ring in mid-off. And unusually there's like a very wide third. And it's cover quite square near point. Quite hard for us to tell the angles from here. And Harry Tactor was ready for that one to go over his head, already heading back. So the gap it left behind him is enticing Melly. Just a little bit of nip in. That's what saved Deverage there.
I would describe that's a bit of flat-batted drive. I think it's quite difficult to describe.
I think he was trying to play a regular drive and then it nipped in, so the bottom hand took over. Hobbold goes right up in the block hole. Melly'd gone deep. So you and I think they should be looking to maybe build a partnership here. Cameron Melly is looking for the boundary. And the thing is, he's ended up with 10 from 10, so he could have done it with a lot more ease if he just knocked it around.
Yeah, I was sort of saying at the end of the last over, it is just modern T20 cricket aggression all the way. The Lightning have obviously taken the option of saying, not that worried about conceding runs, let's take wickets and try and basically bowl out the Warriors in a 20 over game. The Warriors are taking the aggressive option with the bat. They're just continuing here to go along and try and hit boundaries. Again, chance now. DeFreitas is going under it. And yet another wicket falls, so it's the aggression in the Lightning that's taken on here. They are picking up wickets in regular intervals here. 6 down now inside 10 overs. Jared Wilson, the latest to go.
Yeah, I just don't think this is necessary. He's tempted because the mid-off is inside the ring. Dances down, gives himself room, but it's aggression, but not controlled aggression. That's the problem. Too much width nearly for that shot. There are 2 fielders out, ready. Chris DeFreitas, he's brilliant on the boundary in particular, isn't he? Covers the ground very, very well and takes an easy catch in the end. So Wilson goes, I think, was it 10?
I don't think he got 10, I think he got 7.
7, and
yep.
It's 94 for 6.
So we've been saying this now. At what stage does the new batter come in and say, well, let's try and get to the next few, get through the next few overs? We've thought that for the last couple of batters that have come out, and they've continued on. So at any stage here, somebody come in and suggest that we need to bat out at least to 17, 18 and see where we are here now.
I think that's the man who's just come out, Graham Hume. He's that type of batsman. Yes, he can clear the ropes, but he's, from what I've seen of him anyway, often comes in late in the order and just tends to get off strike. Plays well down to third. Good off his legs, as nearly all left-handers are. George Dockrell's going to get his first ball now. Big shout. Johnny Kennedy not interested. Very handy for Leinster Lightning that they can turn to their former captain, George Dockrell, to bowl a bit of spin. Gavin Hoey, the out-and-out spinner, in the lineup. They've got Harry Tactor as well, if they feel the conditions suit the spinners more.
Gets off the mark as you suggested, despite down the ground, but it almost beat the man at Brian McCarthy down there, and they get back for 2.
Yeah, sloppy. That's the kind of sloppiness that Barry McCarthy himself would be shouting about if he was bowling. George Dockrell maybe not as outwardly emotional about it.
Yeah, lots of chat after the international on Sunday that George Dockrell didn't get a ball when the ball was disappearing. It's always a difficult one. You know your team is struggling when they're saying, well, he couldn't have done any worse. You know, it's always a struggle then.
Good piece of feeling that from Tim Tector. Yeah, it's a funny one. You're caught between a rock and a hard place because you've picked your bowlers to bowl slow, and that will sail over the man, the deep. Harry Tector, very early on, he knew he wasn't in with a chance. A very controlled shot from Graham Human. That's what I think's been missing for the Northwest Warriors. They've been attacking too much. But this was a good shot, lifted, used the full levers. Great connection. 6 runs.
Yeah, it is.
Brings the 100 up.
Quite strange to say it, that's a safer option, even though there's a man out there. The slog sweep.
Yeah, I don't mind going back to the international on Sunday. 11 gone, 104 for 6. I don't mind the fact that they didn't turn to George Dockrell. They had plenty of bowling. They just got taken down. Yeah. Plenty of bowling as well for Leinster Lightning. Lots of options for Lorcan Tucker. Everyone's bowled 2 apart from Dockrell. Only 9 left. So Deverage, no surprise, he continues, and that's because he's managed to take the wicket. So it's not a case of anyone lining him up, which is what we saw yesterday. When people bowled back-to-back overs, they tended to be taken down. But when you've got new batters coming out, you can keep bowling.
Yep. Who's that new batter? He's coming round the wicket, the left-hander. The leg side, there's plenty of protection there on the boundary fence. De Freitas comes in and fields. Just 1 for Hume. Whisper it quietly. He does look as if he's come in and decided to maybe bat for a little period of time, despite that sweep, which as we suggested, was a little bit more controlled.
Yeah, it's not a case of just running at the ball, and it felt like frayed thinking from Wilson and Melly as well. He's only on 10 from 11, and he's attacked almost every delivery he's faced. Edged, and that will go to the boundary, but no control. That's been a common theme across the few days so far. Deverage just has to turn and make his way back.
You gotta have pretty thick skin as a bowler these days, I think. And it's just flown away again. Not much control in the shot. Lorcan Tucker just puts the gloves above his head and claps his bowler. A bit of encouragement to keep going. Here we go again. And there we go again. And there we go again. Melly just throwing his hands at the ball again. Outside half of the bat. A carbon copy of Jared Wilson's dismissal. De Freitas comes jogging. He did sprint in, but I don't think he needed to. Got himself in position. Takes the catch. Another one goes. 14 for Cameron Melly. Caught De Freitas. Bowled Deverage, who now has 3.
Yeah, just find myself shaking my head. It seems inexplicable to me that you'd continue playing this way. There's so much time left in the innings. You got the platform early on. This isn't necessary. Front leg goes to the leg side. It's just a heave-ho. De Freitas is getting great catching practice out there. And yeah, Leinster Lightning taking all their chances. There was one that nearly found the ground, but by and large, they fielded very well.
Yep, this is one of those innings. I would love to hear the innings break chat from the coaching staff. Is this what they've been told to do? Just go ball one, regardless of how many we lose. Just continue to keep going. I'd find that hard to believe. Experienced staff in there. Point Rankin, the head coach. As we mentioned, Gary Wilson's with them now.
A very demure shot for O'Sullivan. He's got the memo. We're 7 down. Let's see if we can bat to 20. That's such a good start. 42 for the first wicket. And they just haven't been able to put any partnerships together whatsoever, Northwest Warriors. Oh, that's uppish, but great power from David O'Sullivan. Languid strike. George Dockrell felt like he was in with a shout early on, but the direction was good, and O'Sullivan off the mark with a boundary.
Clean shot from David O'Sullivan. As you say, it was slightly uppish. Lots of power. And the Freitas out there, he's been in the game quite a lot. Can't do anything about that. 2 more boundaries in the over, but a wicket as well. A little bit more control from O'Sullivan. Should be back for 2 here, but they're not going to. Good work from De Freitas. Again, possibly the running could have been a little bit better, but another action-packed over there. A couple of boundaries, but a wicket again for the Lightning. They keep chipping away here. 114 for 7 from 12 overs.
Well, if it was 114 off 12 and there was a different number in the wickets column, then you'd be saying this is good from Northwest Warriors, but very difficult to launch an attack at the back end with only 3 wickets in hand. I think what these two have to be thinking is, right, 2-3 more overs we've got to bat. Maybe we don't search for boundaries and then see can we attack in the last 5 overs, maybe even just the last 4.
Yeah, they've still got plenty of ability, these two, with the bat, but say that leeway has gone a little bit with those 7 wickets.
Good work from Lorcan Tucker. George Dockrell looking to bowl right up in the block hole. Just didn't quite get the direction. Yeah, look, both these batters are more than capable of clearing the ropes. There's no doubt about that, but what they can't afford is a wicket now, so I think it's just got to be controlled in the next few overs. Both have the temperament to do that. I think Leinster Lightning know that they can't think this innings is over. 2 dangerous batters at the crease. They want to take another one. And Graham Hume, you can see from that shot, he's thinking just knock it around and run. He was almost off and running there, even though it only got as far as Tucker. An unusual one from a spinner, but George Dockrell making the most of his height.
Definitely.
A spinner's bouncer.
And gone. Graham Hume not particularly happy with that, but George Dockrell was pretty keen. Not pulling with much flight, George Dockrell. He's spearing these in and got the wicket.
He learned his lesson from the 6 over mid-wicket. Doesn't want to give Hume any room. He goes for 10 from 9, and the 8th wicket goes down for Northwest Warriors. 116 for 8.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to look at the replay here. Didn't think there was much of an appeal from behind the stumps. All came from the bowler. Get a look at it here.
Oh, well, unless that's hit the bat, that looks out. Graham Hume's response would seem to indicate he thinks he's got some glove on it or something. And I think Lorcan Tucker is just focused on getting the ball and stopping the run. Very difficult for him to know what happened in front of the pad. So Johnny Kennedy raised the dreaded finger, and Northwest Warriors have it all to do in the final 7.2 overs.
Yeah, to be fair to Lorcan, he was off trying to retrieve the ball rather than appeal. Bit of a round arm action there from Dockrell. He is just firing them in nice and quickly here. Decided that's the way to go on this pitch.
Another 5-ball over.
Yeah, I think we've got the
in fact, they've
call
realised.
this time. I think we've got the call this time.
Yeah. The wide at the start of the over. Don't forget about the wides, guys. Means an extra ball. Tim Tector taking up position in slip. Miller off the mark with the streaky shot. I think it'll just be one. So 13 overs gone, 117 for 8.
Yeah, just reminiscent more of one of these new T10 games here, really. It's been all thrash. There's your wicket. George Dockrell was very, very keen on that indeed.
Yeah, I like that angle because you can see the path of the bat. It looks unlikely. You can't, obviously we can't see from the other side. We can't see for sure, but it looks unlikely that the gloves or the bat would have actually made contact with the ball there.
There's Barry McCarthy pulling rank here a little bit. I'll come back on here and pick up a nice couple. Melvin Deverage 3 for at the moment, and he had one left, so he'd have been looking maybe to pick up these last two, but not the case.
No, I think a good idea. Try and get Barry McCarthy's confidence back up. Try and give him a few wickets late on. He's gone for 22 in the first two. Never easy taking the overs in the power play.
No, for sure.
He's getting a bit of reward for that from his captain by an opportunity to bowl at number 10.
Yeah, I think he's probably earned that right. I think over time, I think.
We saw him, didn't we, in the warm-up, practicing different skills, different T20 bowling skills. Bowling at the wide line, bowling at the boot, slower deliveries. So it's an opportunity for him to practice that. And going back to Paul Stirling's comment about what they were going to chat about after the game against West Indies, maybe it's a case of, look guys, we've got to be clear in our plans. We've got to be willing to execute the difficult skills with ball in hand. Good Yorker. Field set forward as well. Wasn't quite at the wide line, but he's got very wide third on the boundary there, and Gavin Hoey and kind of forward point and Chris DeFreitas.
Yeah, we talked about batters maybe practice these days don't face bowling as much as in, flat out quick bowling. They have the dog stick or the side arm or whatever, and it's got to be better for bowlers now to practice these skills out in game. You can practice as much as you can in the nets, but in game means more. Bowling out of the back of the hand there.
Yeah, back of the hand and quite wide as well, so just keeping it away from Miller. This will be a tougher challenge. O'Sullivan bowling at him with mid-off in the ring. A little bit of a carrot for O'Sullivan. It's a case of, does he keep attacking now because he's worried he's going to run out of partners at the other end? I think that's got to be the thinking now that Hume is gone.
Pace on, but wide still. He's concentrating on that wide line. Even though he's got 2 boundary riders on the leg side, he's concentrating on the offside and bowling quite wide of both of these batters. He's just taken out of the equation the stumps almost.
Beautiful. Out the back of the hand, a little bit closer to Miller this time. And that's why he needs those fielders out in the deep on the leg side, because if he gets that slightly wrong, that's where it'll be dispatched to. Totally foxed Miller. And just really interesting, because we were talking about Barry McCarthy earning the right to try and take the wickets at the end. He's not really trying to do that. He's trying to go for no runs. So it's definitely an exercise in practicing the skills that he wants going forward, should he need them against maybe numbers 5 and 6 in a batting lineup at the back end. Through, he does take the wicket. The pace on, full straight. Miller was thinking about the wide one, but a brilliantly constructed over from Barry McCarthy, who comes back strong in his third over. So, well, it wasn't O'Sullivan, it was
Robbie Miller gone there, yeah.
Miller goes for 2 from 7.
I think that's a really good phrase you've used, a well-constructed over. If that was what the plan was to come on, and if you want to use the word practice in game, that's about as good as it gets. He's gone through his repertoire there, bowled wide, couple out of the back of the hand, and then that ball, pace on, tack the stumps. So he dragged the batter wide, and then gone back to the stumps with a pace on. Gone straight through Miller. He was quite late on this one, and it's gone through him, through the gap. It's the stumps, and Barry McCarthy picks up that wicket.
Yeah, those figures all of a sudden looking a lot better. This is a good move, I think. Bring your leg spinner back on. Yes, O'Sullivan's on strike, but Hoey's been the one who's been handed the ball. Dockrell, I'm sure, would have been hoping to have it, but the senior spinner, or the out-and-out spinner in the lineup, gets the ball. So it'll be a case of trying to get David O'Sullivan off strike and bowl at Josh Wilson, the number 11. And I think for O'Sullivan, he's got to actually just think, look, I'm not taking any singles. I need to face as many deliveries as I can. Let's see if there's one in the lot that I can lift over the boundary rope. But what do I know? Takes the single.
Yeah, well, it's not to say you're wrong. He's just done it anyway, and taken the one. Field will change now. Will we get a slip, even at this stage? Tim Tector's thinking about it, but he's going to go into mid-wicket. Oh, he's going to come around the wicket to the left-hander.
I wonder, are we going to see a googly? Lorcan Tucker is ready and waiting.
Wilson gets off the mark, just tucks that around the corner. There's one more, so we're going back to singles now. Point of view, I wouldn't have minded seeing that 4 or 5 overs ago.
Yeah, a little bit late in the day for this, is my thinking. This should have been overs 9, 10, 11 maybe, and then you're only 4 or 5 down. There it is.
Yep.
The googly not red, which you'll forgive number 11 Josh Wilson for.
Yeah, comes comes back over the wicket to bowl that. Yeah, top balls and singles, not over. Haven't seen that for a while. Just 15 gone. 123 for 9 for the Warriors.
Nobody's really got going. Good partnership at the top from Topping and Balbirnie. Dominated by Balbirnie, 30 from just 12 deliveries for him, but nobody else has got going. It's not been a very well constructed innings from the Northwest Warriors, completely in contrast to their game yesterday against the Munster Reds, which they dominated with the bat. McCarthy will bowl out his spell now from the Sunday's well end. Slower delivery, completely foxed O'Sullivan.
Yeah, well, I think that graphic that was just on the screen there, the partnerships graphic, I think that tells pretty much all you need to know. You know, first one up 42, you'll take that any time, first wicket. But after that, just a procession of wickets. Nobody really willing to build a partnership together. As you say, in complete contrast to yesterday. McBride telling me that at pre-game they were happy with the 350 partnerships. Nothing of that ilk today. Well bowled. Right in the block hole, actually well played. O'Sullivan got the bat down. He was possibly aiming for one of those big shots down the ground, but managed to get the bat down. But been good skills here from McCarthy.
Yeah, he's been one step ahead, hasn't he? He's bowled the ones wide outside off, changed up his pace, and then he's willing to bring it back to the stumps and spear it into the block hole.
Yeah, the demeanour there you see on screen's a little bit better as well from the first 2 overs.
His first over was good. Went for just 5. It was his second over
one,
went
yeah.
for 17.
Yeah.
That ruined his figures somewhat. So can Barry McCarthy work Wilson over the way we just saw him do to Miller? And he has 3 deliveries to do it. Very different looking field. Just the cover out on the offside for the left-hander. Everyone out in the leg side. So this could be short. Now it's slower delivery. And McCarthy was ready to field off his own bowling. Always handy when you're on the same side as the ball is hit. I used to find as a left armer bowling over the pitch, you'd get quite a lot of run-outs when you had the field out in the leg side because people were expecting to be able to drop it in there and run. They forgot the bowlers on that side.
Yeah.
Coming round the wicket now, Barry McCarthy.
Went for the same ball that got Miller. Trying to spear it into Midland leg. Pace on. Just lost it a little bit down leg. The angle.
Yeah, I think his reaction afterwards tells you he thinks it was the right plan. He just didn't quite execute it. He probably would have got his man, he thinks, if he had managed to get the line right. Threw that shot very, very early. And Josh Wilson, I think it was a slower ball. It just saw Brian McCarthy have a quick chat, a quick look at George Dockrell before he started running in. I think he was saying, come in for the catch. I'm going to take the pace off, but Wilson opted to go the other way.
Oh yeah, we'd mentioned about him coming back to take the wickets, but he's come back here. I think he's only gone for 2 or 3 off these couple of overs.
Gone for 5 so far.
Sorry, 5, yeah. Off these 2 overs that he's bowled at the back end. Yeah, I'll not be happy with that one. That's a bit of a freebie for Wilson to get away. But yeah, going through his skills there in those last 2 overs, as you say, possibly somewhere down the line he may be bowling similar times to set batters. So good to get through those couple of overs. Picked up a wicket, and the Warriors now 126 for 9, 4 overs to go.
Yeah, that 4 over spell from Barry McCarthy. He finishes with 1 for 28. Went for 22 in his first 2 overs, so he's come back very, very well. Cavan Howie will get his opportunity to close out his 4 over spell. Miserly 1 for 13. I think he'll be keen to make it 2 for around the wicket at the left-hander. Flat batted down the ground, but hit poorly enough that there's no danger of it being caught in the deep.
Brings O'Sullivan back on strike. As you said, he's in a bit of a conundrum now. Really, with just Josh Wilson at the other end.
I think it's probably, for me, it would have cleared my mind if I was him. I've got to score boundaries, but he's happy to take the singles, which I have to say is confusing me. That's useful. Bottom edge work to do for Barry McCarthy. Oh well, that's incredibly athletic from McCarthy. Does so well to get his body up in the air and to stop the ball rolling onto the rope. How the fielders have the wherewithal to think to do these things, I just do not know.
Yeah, I think he's quite pleased with that because he's thumbs up to the dressing room, and that's gone. Tries to repeat the dose with an inside edge down to third, but sorry, fine leg, but doesn't get anything on it this time, and he picks up that second wicket you were asking for, is he? He gets 2 for 17 from his 23 deliveries. Josh Wilson goes for 5, and that piece of fielding from Barry McCarthy, you know, excellent in the field. And then next ball, Wilson picks up, sorry, Hoey picks up Wilson, and the Warriors are all out for 130.
Much quicker through the air here from Howie. He's seen that Wilson's willing to go on the back foot, so he gets this one through quicker. Too quick for the number 11. He probably should play that down the ground. Looks to play it into the leg side and perishes. So 130 all out, and with more than 3 overs to go, it'd be disappointing for the Warriors, and it's a disappointing card. 36 for Andy Balbirnie, the top scorer by a long shot. A couple of contributions in the teens, but by and large it's not a batting card that they'll look back on with much pride. 130 all out in the 17th.
Yeah, and the partnerships, as it sort of alluded to there, tells us a real story. You'll take that 42 for the opening in quick time, but then nothing to back it up. Little teen partnerships, but constant wickets there every time. We thought they were going to get going, they lost wickets, and there's your card. The Lightning will be delighted with that. You know, McCarthy coming back, 1 for 28 from his. Wilson a little bit expensive again, but Hoey then 2 for 17 from almost 4. Deverage was good, 3 overs, 3 for 21, and Dockrell picking up 1 as well. So a good all-round performance. Everybody in the wickets column there for the Lightning. Your match summary. Quick finish here in the first innings of this. IP20 trophy match, 16.5 overs. The Northwest Warriors have been bowled out for 130. We'll take a short break now, and we'll be back when the Lightning will be chasing 131.
boy. Hit the footmark and 106 foot in the
Oh.
direction.
Is it the rope or is it the line?
It's a rope.
Yeah?
Touch the line.
Go, 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 go.
Guys. There, double on ground. Gary. There, it's on the ground.
Make me somebody like that.